Well, hello, I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, here for our September monthly update. And I will tell you, it's early September. What a great day to be outside today. It's hard to believe there's such a big storm in Irma churning off the coast of Florida, and that Texas or Houston is having to go through what they're doing with Hurricane Harvey. Again, enjoy today while it's here and the future days to come when you can. I just want to remind everybody, school is back in session, so our buses are moving throughout the community again. Our kids are on the streets. Please be safe as you move around the community and be on the lookout for our children and getting back into their normal routine. In terms of volunteer and staffing, I do want to recognize Pastor Bob Fulkerson, who has served the police department as their pastor for the past, I think, 7+ years, but been very involved in the community and the department and riding with the officers and attending events and supporting our police officers on a volunteer basis, has retired and moved on. We had a lot of well-wishing for him in the month of August and September, but I do want to say thank you to him again. He has been a real friend of the city and to our police department. And we wish him much success in his retirement and happiness, and appreciate the job he's done for us here. I mentioned hurricanes. Again, it is hurricane season within our part of the world. It goes until November, so we still have a long time to work through that. Excuse me. And with Hurricane Irma out there and a little uncertain of where it's going at this point, I do want to let you know it will be a significant storm wherever it hits. Our staff is getting ready and doing what we can on our side to be prepared in terms of vehicles ready, equipment ready, families ready to respond. So we'll be there on the city side. But I do at least want to share what FEMA has said is all of us as individuals need to be doing to look after our families. It's a basic disaster or emergency supply kit and also a communication plan. One, you need to know how to get in touch with your family and those that are important to you, provided cell phones don't work. What are you going to do if your cell phone doesn't work or your landline doesn't work to know where your family is? How would you find one another? And again, have a plan so at least all of your family members or those important in your lives know how to communicate with one another should the normal modes not work. The other thing, and really important to all of us, is this basic emergency supply kit. This will be on the city's website. It's on FEMA. It's from FEMA's website, but it talks about a gallon of water per person to last you at least 3 days. So a gallon of water per person per day to last 3 days. Food, a 3-day supply of non-perishables, battery-powered or hand-crank radio or NOAA weather radio, flashlight, extra batteries, first aid kit, whistle to signal for help, dust mask in case there's airborne kinds of things to protect you from that, moist towelettes, garbage bags, plastic ties, wrench or pliers to turn off utilities, can opener for food, one that's not electric, and a manual one so you can open your cans of food, local maps so you can know where things are or people are referencing, prescription medication and glasses if needed, infant formula and diapers, pet food, and so we're looking after our pets as well, and extra water for your pet, family documents that you may need, copies of insurance policies, cash or traveler's checks and change, emergency reference materials such as first aid book for information in case you have an injury you need to treat, sleeping bag, a warm blanket for each person, additional bedding if you're in cold areas, which is not normally our case, complete change of clothing, including long sleeve shirts, pants, sturdy shoes, household chlorine bleach and medicine dropper, fire extinguisher, matches in a waterproof container, feminine supplies and personal hygiene items, mess kit, paper cups, plates, utensils, paper and pencil, books, games and puzzles, and other activities for you and kids. And again, I will have this list posted on the city's website. This comes from the FEMA.gov's website as your basic emergency supply kit, and really important year-round to have that ready and available for your family, but particularly when we're talking about a hurricane that could have potential serious implications for our community. We continue to be focused on community appearance. Our mayor and city council continue to remain focused on that. Our city staff are focused on that. We do have folks that are out every day picking up litter, mostly from the same streets. And so it's incumbent upon us as citizens here to do our part, one, to prevent littering on our own so that we're not throwing trash out, that we're reporting people that are throwing trash out, and that we're cleaning up around our place of residence or business as well. So we'll continue to do our part. If we can help where you are, please don't hesitate to call us, and we will try to assist any way we can in making the community more presentable to those of us that are here every day, and also to those that are visiting Goldsboro for maybe the first time. We've talked an awful lot about a Kalia accreditation and hiring a Kalia manager over the last several years and certainly the last 4 or 5 months. We have finally done that. We do have a person on board that is our Kalia manager. I feel very fortunate that we have Rosie working with us and working with our police department. So that is something that's occurred. We are enrolled in the Kalia accreditation process. It's a 3-year process of making sure our policies meet national standards. And again, so there's a process to get there in terms of evaluating policies and then helping our officers understand those policies. You'll hear more of Kalia updates as we go forward. We did have a concerned citizen make a statement recently that he was delighted that we had hired a Kalia manager, although our Kalia manager was the highest paid in the state. I did ask our HR department to sort of survey that to see if that was a truthful statement or not, and it's not a truthful statement. So I just want to clarify that the information from that citizen was mistaken. Of at least the 29 North Carolina communities that we called to ask, hey, what do you pay your Kalia manager? We've fallen in about number 10. So again, we are above average in terms of pay for our Kalia manager, but we certainly are not the highest paid Kalia manager in the state. And I just wanted to clarify that. We've also have a lot of information going on related to Hurricane Matthew recovery from almost a year ago and trying to get the federal money moving and state money moving to help local residents. It is a very frustrating process for people to have to go through that. We understand that from the local government side. We are as much a facilitator in terms of helping people get information. We are not the final decision makers in most of that. But we did have a resident who just felt like we were way behind in helping people get into funding to help primarily low to moderate income families. And I would just encourage you to call my office or our community relations office, but my office is 580-4330. Again, the city manager's office 919-580-4330 with any questions, but specifically with questions related to hurricane recovery assistance for any families within Goldsboro, particularly low to moderate income, as there is more funding for low to moderate income families. The process is there. It is a federal process in many cases or a state process, but we will be delighted to try to help you through that process and make sure that our residents are receiving all the funding that's available to help you in recovering from Hurricane Matthew, again, which occurred almost a year ago. For many of us, the hurricane's passed. For a number of our community members, the hurricane is still real and they don't know where they're going to live, and there's still a lot of work to get done to get them back in a permanent residence. So anywhere we can help with that, we want to do that. A couple of projects to update on. One, downtown continues to thrive, continues to have a lot of activity, and I would encourage you, if you haven't come into downtown in a while, to come check out your downtown. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at the changes that are going on and the new businesses that are opening and those that are changing out. Public art is one of those things in our downtown area that's generated some conversation each year. Our goal has been to change out this art that we're putting in the roundabouts and other places on a yearly basis. And again, we lease the art, so rather than paying $40,000 or $50,000 to buy it, we have paid around $2,000 a piece to lease it for a year. And again, if the idea of leasing it is to generate new ideas, new thoughts, new conversation, a new look for downtown. And what we found is people fall in love with the art and they hate to see it go, and then folks that didn't like the art are happy to see it go, and then we bring in new art and it generates a new conversation of people liking it, people not liking it, which I think it really is the nature of public art. Sometimes it appeals to you, sometimes it does not. The good news is we'll have something new and refreshing, and if you like it, it'll be here for a year, and if you don't like it, it'll be gone in a year. So again, that changes out in mid-October, so if you either come for the event when we change it out or come after mid-October, and you'll have a new look even if you've been downtown the last month or so. We've talked about a Herman Park Center project of replacing the existing Herman Park Center with more of a Herman Park Recreation Center. I think the need in our community is high. The community involvement and input certainly expresses there's a desire for that, and I think it would serve the community and our youth very well to have a recreation center and not replacing what we have there today to serve the community in the years to come. Either way, we're going to spend money on the facility. The existing facility is in need of some significant repair, so it's a time to say, let's take that money and place it towards a newer facility, which our mayor and council have been discussing for a couple of years now. The most recent conversation is getting more, I guess, down to making a decision point. We've looked at options that started at $6 million for a basic one gym model to $2 million, or excuse me, to $8 million if you have a double gym facility, to maybe $15 million to $17 million for a 3-gym option with double levels and an elevated walking track and some other amenities that the community has said they would like to see. The real concern, most people in the community, the feedback to me and the council has been they'd love to have Herman Park Center replaced, but they don't want to have a tax increase. That's challenging for me as a manager at any of the levels, and that an $8 million project requires about an $850,000 a year debt service payment for 15 years. $15 million project requires over $1 million debt service payment. So to make that happen, we have to have our debt payments today go down, which they do. They go down every year over the next 5 years, about an average of about $300,000 a year. So they do go down, but that means it takes 3 years to get to the point that we can support an $800 and some thousand debt service payment. So as manager, what I have consistently said to the council is I believe you'd have to have a modest tax increase to help support new debt related to Herman Park Center. The council doesn't have to take my recommendation, but I do think to be fiscally sound as the manager, that is where I've been. Our finance director, I think, would concur with that. And we're talking a 1 to 2 cent tax increase. I'm not into recommending a 4, 5, or 6 cent tax increase to build a rec center, and the council may choose to move forward and not have a tax increase. I just think that from a financial standpoint, that concerns me today to make that recommendation. More discussion to follow on that. I know it's a very high interest to the council. I think they are interested in at least a 2-gym model version there, and our hope is we have reached out to Golden Leaf and asked it for a couple $1 million to help us design a facility such that one of those 2 gymnasiums could be an emergency shelter for the future event, whether it's flooding or other natural disaster that will occur in Goldsboro, because there will be an event sometime in the future where we have the responsibility as a community to shelter people who need temporary housing. The county does that through the schools today. We'd like to be able to offer Herman Park Center to the county as a place that is more of a long-term, meaning a 15 to 30, 45-day sheltering that doesn't impact school system or students' ability to return to school as it did during Hurricane Matthew. So again, more discussion on Herman Park Center. I believe the council is committed to trying to make that project happen. It's just, can it happen in the next year or two, or does it have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 years to get there? We've talked an awful lot about paving, not to see a whole lot going on the ground yet. Voters did approve a bond referendum last year. We have sold $2.5 million worth of bond that's available for paving contract. We have awarded that paving contract. The contract is out. It is up to our paver to schedule that work, and he has until, I believe, February to finish the contract. I expect him to start any time now, and again, we will keep you updated on that. But it is a lot of paving that's under contract relative to what we normally do in Goldsboro. We normally have been doing about $500,000 a year of resurfacing. This year we do have $2.5 million under contract, so we're doing 5 times our normal amount. So I hope you'll see the results of that very soon. Humphrey Street is a dirt street we're paving as part of the street bond project. And again, we're paving, I think, 4 blocks of Humphrey Street that are under contract. It should be completed in the next 6 months as well. So good paving news in terms of work going on, and I'll update you as we actually have the contractor on the ground doing that work. Our former W.A. Foster Recreation Center on Leslie Street, we've talked about that a number of times over the past year about either tearing it down or using it for some community purpose. The council did vote to move forward at their meeting in September, their first meeting, to go ahead with moving forward with about a $180,000 option to remove the asbestos, fix the roof or replace where the leaks, and there are 4 roofing systems on that building, fix the mechanical so it's working, and then fix some water damaged area in a back room where water's been leaking through the roof. Again, total of about $180,000. We didn't they haven't awarded any contract, but those are the estimated costs to get it done. And I think you'll see contracts being awarded for us to do that work in September. We'll be back with the asbestos removal contract and with the idea of having the facility available for use next summer. And then the next step is to form a nonprofit to manage the building. The goal is to move the building to a nonprofit status and allow those nonprofits in the communities to allow usage and rental of the building such that it will support itself. So again, I think an exciting project to continue to move forward and retain some of the history as well, to provide some space that we continue to hear is needed throughout the community. With that, I think I'll close in saying fall is a busy time within our community, from schools to events downtown to the Paramount Theater schedule ramping up to Parks and Rec and Little League programs for your kids. And I would encourage you to look for things to do and get involved in Goldsboro and Wayne County. It really is a great community to be part of. It's a great time of year to be out and enjoying those kind of things. Again, we're here to help. If we can help, please don't hesitate to call me. Again, Scott Stevens, your city manager, in our office, my office number, 919-580-4330. We're here to serve you. Please don't hesitate to call on us if we can be of help. Thanks and bye.